Now we're going to turn this over to our school board candidates. So we'd like to welcome our District 45 school board candidates. We have Carol Klemecki, Melissa Slynn, Kimberly Ann Taglia, and Charles G. Wentworth. Thank you for being here this evening. Similar to Mr. McCleary, you each have 2 minutes to tell us a little bit about yourselves, how long you've lived in Villa Park, and why you decided to run for school board. So we're going to go right now in reverse alphabetical order, and so we'll start with Charles.
My name is Charles Wentworth. I'm an attorney. I moved here to Villa Park about maybe 8 years ago. I grew up in Utah, where I went to college and to law school, and then I lived for a couple of years in New Hampshire while my wife did her graduate school out there, and we came back here after we both finished school for jobs that we had gotten here. We have 4 kids. We have a son who started first grade in Ardmore and finished at Ardmore. He's gone through Jackson, and he's now a freshman at Willowbrook. We have 2 daughters that attend Ardmore right now, one of whom will go to Jackson next year, and we have a preschooler who will make it to Ardmore in a couple of years. So I have a lot of experience with the district. We've lived here for a long time. I'm also very involved in the community. My kids swim on the Villa Park Mariners. We have played baseball. I've coached baseball for each of my kids. They've played, and I've been their coach for each of them. And we're very involved here in the community and doing other things. Just a little bit about me. Like I say, I went to law school. I'm a small business attorney over in Glen Ellen. I have a soon-to-be 3 attorney firm. There's 2 of us right now. We're adding 1 more attorney in the next couple weeks. And we do all kinds of business matters. We start companies. We deal with the relationships that companies have, that small businesses have. And we sell companies. We do both transactional and litigation. So I have lots and lots of business experience. I'm also the director of a couple of small businesses myself. And so I work a lot with small businesses in thinking about how to resolve difficult issues that they might be facing, in how to plan for the future and address the concerns that the small businesses have. And I think that that's a skill set that I can really bring to the board, and that I can use those business experiences to help the board improve and only move forward from here.
Great. Okay, now we'll turn it over to Kim to introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Kim Taglia. I have lived in Villa Park for 14 years. I have 3 children, 2 at North, 1 at Jefferson. I am a very active member in the PTA at North School and Jefferson, and I have a degree in business management from Robert Morris College, and my husband is a current Villa Park trustee.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Melissa?
I am Melissa Slynn. Thank you for having me tonight. I have lived in Villa Park for almost 12 years. My husband and I have 3 children, 1 at Stevenson, 1 at York Center, and 1 at Jackson. I have been involved in York Center Stevenson's PTA since my oldest was in kindergarten. I'm currently the PTA president there. I've also volunteered as a Destination Imagination team leader for 2 different 2nd grade teams. I'm currently on the school leadership team for York Center and Stevenson schools. I've served on several district-wide committees, and I'm currently on the district-wide building utilization committee. In my professional life, I'm a speech therapist for early intervention, and that's about it.
Thank you, Melissa. We'll go ahead and turn it over to Carol.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name's Carol Klemecki. I've lived in Villa Park for about 20 years now. My husband and I live on the north side. My husband is the pastor of a small church up there. We have 3 kids. We've been involved in the community for a long time. As the kids get older, the more involved we are. We've played soccer, we've done softball, I have still some in karate. We've pretty much done every program that the Villa Park has to offer. We love being part of Villa Park and in the community. A little bit about me and my involvement with the PTA. I've been involved with PTA since Hannah started in kindergarten, so that's about 8 years now. I'm currently the vice president at Jefferson School, and I'm the president at North School. for about the past 5 years now. So it's been great. A little broader involvement is I've also been involved with a district PTA on a district level. I this year get to be a part of the VPEA PTA scholarship team, so I'm looking forward to that. That's a new thing for me this year. And something that I'm very proud of is in May 2013, I was recognized as a key contributor for District 45. So that was a big step for me. A big honor. I have a bachelor's degree in communications and English from the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. For about 10 years, I worked as a corporate meeting planner for DeVry. So I project managed about 150 meetings a year. So it was a big job. I learned about contract negotiations. I learned about negotiations within and outside of the company. I also learned how to work with people and groups on one-on-one and in larger groups. Currently, I work in customer service, so I assess problems all day long and troubleshoot and try to find the best solution for everybody. I'm running for school board because I said I've got a 4th grader and a 5th grader at North. I've got a 8th grader at Jefferson, and I care about the quality of education that we have here in District 45 and look forward to continuing to contribute to it.
Great, thank you. I think it's wonderful that we have candidates who have a wide variety of experience and diversity in all of the schools in our district too. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first question, and we'll go ahead and go in the other order. So we'll start with you, Carol. What do you feel is your role and responsibility as a school board member when the state mandates major educational policy changes such as Common Core and/or park testing?
Sure. I feel that if the state mandates these type of policies, that as a school board member, it's my job to get together with the rest of the school board members and figure out the best way to write policy into our current education system that both adheres to that mandate, the laws of the mandate, and the laws of the state. So I think that's what we would do. I would continue to do as a school board member.
Okay. The same question would be for you, Melissa.
Well, I feel that it's important that if there are new mandates that we make sure that they're properly implemented and that the teachers and the staff are given the proper training and the tools that they need so that these can be implemented properly. It's also necessary to provide parents with clear and easy to understand information about any new mandates that would come along right from the start, because we don't need everything to be controversial. If there's going to be a change, sometimes there's nothing that we can do about it.
Okay. Kim?
The responsibility of the Board of Education is to research the mandate and direct the superintendent to assess it if it is a positive change for our students and teachers. If there are concerns, the board should work with the parents and the superintendent. The superintendent should then work with the administration and teachers to address the needs and concerns with parents and the state legislature. Common Core is relatively new. Its goal is to provide a uniform education for each grade level throughout the USA. It is definitely different from the way we were taught, but it seems to be working well. Park testing is very new, and we are looking forward to the results and feedback from the students and teachers.
Thank you. Charles?
So the thing about mandates that come down from the legislature, from the state, or even from the federal level, is that oftentimes there's some wiggle room in them. And so one of the things that I think is really important for the board to do is really understand what is it that we've been mandated to do. Because to the extent that the local boards are given discretion to implement certain things or are given discretion in how to implement certain standards, we really need to find out where that discretion is and use that to tailor those programs for our locality specifically. Just because the state says that we have to teach certain curriculum or we have to meet certain standards doesn't necessarily mean that we have to teach it the same way they do in Chicago or that they do in Springfield or that they do in Peoria. And we really need to make sure that we understand what is it specifically that we've been mandated where we don't have any wiggle room, and where is it that the state or the feds have given us discretion to implement it in ways that would be best for our community. And so I would really work with the other board members and also with the teachers and principals of our local schools to figure out what's the best way to implement the programs that the state or the feds have told us that we have to do.
Thank you. For our next question, we'll start with you, Melissa. With new leadership in Illinois and recent concerns regarding funding reductions and the financial issues that our state continues to face, what do you feel is the best way for the school board to work with the state legislature and governor to ensure that our budgetary needs are met?
So first of all, I think it's important that the school board is paying very close attention to any proposed legislation that affects our funding. Currently, there's a proposed cut to early intervention. That's the field that I work in. And these cuts are supposed to be made up for by increasing the eligibility for early intervention children from a delay of 30% to increasing it to a delay of 50%. And if this gets passed, it will eventually affect the funding for our schools because we will then have, excuse me, higher costs because children won't be receiving the services as early as they might have. And they would then be receiving those services when they entered into our public school. Not only does this affect a child, but it's detrimental to our district because it, like I said, the number of children that would be needing those services in our district. I also feel that our board should have an open communication with our state legislatures and governor to let them know how their proposals affect our district specifically. We need to make them aware of the proposals that we disagree with, as well as the ones that we could benefit from, and our opinions on those.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Kim?
The Board of Education should cooperate with the local municipalities and be included when addressing budgetary needs with the state legislature. The DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference sponsors an annual drive down to Springfield. They meet with our state lawmakers and share their needs and concerns. We as a school board should participate with them. For more information about the drive down, web search DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference.
Charles?
So I think the biggest way that we can influence Springfield is just to make sure that we're communicating with our local representatives and make sure that they understand how important these issues are for us. I had the opportunity just a few weeks ago to meet as part of the DuPage County Bar Association with some of the local representatives for here in DuPage, and this was one of the issues that they brought up was the school funding and the I think it's SB1 it's been retitled right now. Which would reduce significantly the amount of funding that DuPage County gets for its schools. So working very closely with those state representatives and making sure that they understand the issues that are important to us and how those changes will affect our communities are really critical. I think the next piece is, notwithstanding what happens there, we need to have people on the school board who can deal with whatever it is that they've given us. And I think that's one of the skills that I really have and can bring to the board is my experience working with small businesses and helping them resolve the everyday problems that they have, whether they're budgetary issues or employment issues or succession issues, and helping them deal with difficult problems that are presented to them. That's what I do every single day, and I think that's one of the greatest benefits that I can bring to the school board is just my experience in helping small business owners and people who live here in DuPage County work through the difficult situations that they find themselves in and helping them try to craft plans to get them out of those difficult situations.
Thank you, Charles. Carol?
I would agree with everyone else. I think the biggest part of being aware of what's happening, being aware of the legislation that comes before us or comes up for a vote, even as an individual, I'm still continuing to do that as elected to the school board, communicating those needs through emails, through phone calls. I know that the current board, there was a number of members that went down to district, to Springfield about SB 16 when it was on the floor. So do things like that. Do things that are proactive instead of reactive. And as Kim mentioned, research and be aware of what's out there. And communicate to each other, communicate to the administration, communicate to the teachers their own concerns. So I think that's a big part of it. I understand there's not a special phone that we can pick up about the school board budgets, but maybe there should be. And that would maybe help things a little bit more, broadcast what we need to our legislation, broadcast what we need in our schools.
Thank you, Carol. The next question will start with Kim. There seems to be an increase in student enrollment in District 45. What is the school board's role in staff retention and acquisition of new staff, such as teachers, support staff, and administration, in order to address the higher census needs?
The school board's role is to ensure that the superintendent is making sound decisions that positively impact our students and teachers. It is a balance, especially when addressing the staffing needs of schools with an increase in students and tight budget constraints. We should keep open minds and listen to our teachers' input in this area of need.
Okay, same question to you, Charles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly how much of a role the school board has in making those specific decisions, but I think one of the things we definitely need to do is evaluate the needs of all of the schools and make sure that we're taking into consideration all of the different schools and the needs that they may have specifically, in making sure that the different that there's an adequate allocation of funds for each of the schools, that each of the schools has the teacher to student ratio, that, you know, to keep them fairly balanced among the schools. We don't want one school to have, you know, very small class sizes versus another that may have very large class sizes, and just making sure that we have that equitable balance among all of the schools so that everyone is receiving, you know, basically the same services no matter where you live throughout the district.
Okay, thank you. Carol?
In regards to increased enrollment, I do believe that there has been a slight increase. I'm not sure if there's cause for concern. However, I do know something that is changing is our changing demographic in our schools. Something I really believe in is I think it's important for us to have the teachers and the staff and the support staff that accurately reflect that changing demographic. I do know that the district is taking proactive steps in trying to recruit those type of teachers and staff and support staff. It's part of the initiative of District 45 Drive. I was part of that, so I was able to give some feedback on that. I know Nancy Munoz, who's the current Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, working on job fairs, recruitment, all that sort of things. And I do look forward to them being able to employ and recruit quality staff to continue to contribute to the education here in District 45.
And Melissa, we'll go ahead and finish this question with you.
So I feel it's important that we do make sure that we keep the class sizes equal across the buildings, like Charles had mentioned. And I also think that it's important that we continue to keep a culture of candor amongst the teachers, and that teachers are willing to stay in our district. We want to invest in highly effective teachers, and we want to have the best interest of our children, and in doing that, and keeping the teachers that we currently have, as well as hiring new teachers when it's necessary, while in order to keep class sizes to that ratio as Charles had mentioned.
Okay. And Kim, same question for you.
Did I start this one?
I think
You did? Okay, thank you.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Sorry about that.
I was like,
Sorry about that, Kim.
It's okay.
So we'll go ahead and start this question with Charles. As a school board member, how would you hold teachers and administrators more accountable for parent complaints, student failures, and poor performance?
So I'd like to start off by saying I think this is a really interesting question, because it presumes that teachers and administrators aren't being held accountable for those things right now. And at least in my experience, that's not the case. To the extent that my wife and I have ever had a complaint about what happens in the district, and I'll say frankly, I don't think we have, because we really like being in District 45. We're really impressed with the teachers, the staff, and the administrators here. But to the extent that we have had any concerns, we've always had those met. We've always felt that we could approach either the administrators or the staff or our children's own teachers and have those issues addressed immediately. That said, I'm sure there are situations where others have had a different experience. And as a district, as a school board member, I would be completely open to hearing any questions or concerns that anyone might have. I know that on the school board's website, there is a link where you can email the school board members directly, and I would invite any parent at any time to email me. I happen to speak Spanish, and so I would also be open to speaking with any parent who may feel like they weren't being heard because maybe they couldn't communicate with the staff or their teachers or whoever. And I think that I would be able to bring that to the table as well, to help communicate with parents and make sure that their concerns were heard. Again, one of the most important things that we can do is make sure that the parents at least know that they are being heard and that their concerns are being listened to. Whether or not we can find exactly the solution they're looking for is really going to depend on each individual situation. But if we're not making sure that the parents feel like they are active participants in the school district and that their concerns are being at least listened to, if not necessarily addressed in the way that they exactly want them to be handled, we're really failing as a school district. And I think that I would just continue the district's ability to do that and to communicate with parents to make sure that their needs are being met.
Thank you. Carol, the same question for you, please.
Sure. In regards to parent complaints, I would agree with Charles. I would encourage parents to take advantage of the support structure that is already in place, communicating first to the teachers, then to the principals, and then moving on to the school board and the superintendent. I also concur that in District 45, I've had my needs met. I haven't run into a situation where I've shared a concern and it hasn't been addressed. So I would, as a school board member, encourage parents and to continue to do that, those lines of communication. However, as again, if I am on the school board and someone were to send me an email or became aware of a recurring problem, I certainly would share that concern with the board and with the superintendent so that we can best address that need. In regards to student failures and poor performances, I believe that I was just at a past board meeting and Erin Slater, who's the assistant superintendent of curriculum, shared how our students are doing. She had a bar graph, she had pie charts, she had everything out on slides for us to look at and to be informed. And I think that's her job and she's good at it. So I would continue to listen to what she has, give her reports and share concerns with the board if I had any. And again, if there was a concern of continuing poor performances or failures, that we would work together as a board, speak with principals and teachers to get their input how best to address these issues and correct them within the district.
Okay, great. Melissa, the same question?
I also agree with both Charles and Carol. I do feel that our district does a great job monitoring student progress at a classroom, building, and district level. So I don't know how often that these issues actually make it to the school board level, but I too feel that I would be willing to listen to any parent concern about whether that is about a student failure or poor progress or any issue within the district. I would be open to email communication, and I would to bring those concerns to the board and work together with all parties to come to a solution.
Okay. And Kim, now you really do have a chance to answer a question.
Okay, thanks. It is the role of the board to direct the superintendent in addressing the issues with the staff and teachers. The board must verify that the superintendent reviews all employee performance levels and makes the necessary corrections when and where they are required. As a board member, I will always be available to listen to the concerns of parents, teachers, and students, and of course, the superintendent. I promise to be honest, fair, and impartial, and always make the best decision based on the facts and what is best for our district.
Now for our final question, we'll go ahead and go back to Carol. And we're going to end on your favorite thing and what you would most want to change about the district. So what is your favorite thing about District 45 schools? And what is the biggest thing that you would want to change?
My favorite thing about District 45 are the teachers and the staff and their dedication to students and their dedication to excellence in education. I am so impressed with all the schools that I've been at, all the schools I've been in, had the privilege to visit. I live 1 block from North, I live 1 block from Jefferson, so there are many times where I will drive home after work or late in the afternoon and there are cars still in the lot. I can see them through the windows. I can see that they're hard at work. They are putting the needs of our students ahead of a lot of things, and it's not something that they ask accolades for. It's just something that they do because they care about our students. They're by far my favorite part of being part of District 45, and each student just benefits from the care and the love that gets showered on them. Something I would change within District 45, nothing big. I just think between, there's 8 schools in the district, which is a lot. When I tell people that there's 8 schools, I get the reaction, wow, that's a lot of schools. And it is. I think that sometimes they operate a bit independently of each other. There's not a lot of communication that happens between the schools. Something that I would do if I was part of the school board is I would continually challenge them. I would move towards unity. I would challenge them to work more collaboratively more often. I think that can only benefit us as a district. I think it can benefit the students, and I think it can benefit us as a community as well.
Great, thank you, Carol. Melissa, the same question to you about what your favorite thing and the thing you would most want to change about District 45.
So I too feel that the best thing about our district is our teachers. The teachers at York Center and Stevenson schools are some of the hardest working and caring people that I know. They not only provide their students with an excellent education, but they also care about the whole child. And they provide our students with extra encouragement and care that gives that child the desire to succeed. Our kids want to go to school. The one thing that I would change is I concur with what Carol said. There's a perceived separation of our buildings, and each building is not an island. We are a whole district. And I know that there have been times that I've talked to parents and they've asked, oh, where do your kids go to school? And when I say Stevenson and York Center, they don't even know that those are buildings in our district. And I'm sure I too have misconceptions of buildings in our district. And I'd like to see that changed, and that we have a more cohesive district with more communication between the buildings.
Okay, great. Kim, same question for you.
My favorite thing about District 45 is the teachers. I love them. I'd like District 45 to have an all-day kindergarten throughout the school year. And I support keeping the LEAP program, but I will keep an open mind for replacement programs.
Okay, thank you. And Charles, we'll go ahead and finish up with you, please.
So I'm going to depart from my fellow candidates here and say my favorite thing about the district is the school, is the kids. I've had the opportunity for each of my two oldest kids, when they have, when they're learning about something that deals with government, or I worked on a case that dealt with some Americans with Disabilities Act issues, and my son was reading a story one year that dealt with disability issues. When those issues come up, I always approach the teacher and say, hey, can I come in and talk to the kids about what I do? And it's a great opportunity. It's a lot of fun to go in and talk to the students, to help them understand more about how our government works, about the opportunities that they have to go to school and to find ways that they can participate. And I really think the kids are great, and it's a lot of fun to find opportunities to be with them and to share with them the experiences that I've had, and to help them see how they can grow and progress, and why it's important what it is that they're studying and what they're learning about in their classes. So that's my favorite thing. If there's anything that I would change, it would be helping the parents understand more about how they can participate in the district and how they can have an active role in their kids' education. I think Mr. Palmisano's done a great job of communicating with the districts when there are issues that come up. I think my heart went out to him last year when we had problems with the busing. Every single day it seemed like we had a call from Mr. Palmisano about what was going on. And he's great about jumping on issues if and when they're a problem. The only thing that I would say that I might improve is just making sure that the parents know when all the good stuff is happening too. You don't want the only time you're communicating with parents to be when there's a problem. And that's super important, but now that I'm participating in this, I'm realizing how much there is that the district does that I just didn't even know about. And I welcome the opportunity to learn more about it, and also to find ways to communicate those things to the parents so that they feel like they're more active participants in their kids' education.
Okay, just on time. So we'd like to thank all of the school board candidates for participating this evening, and remind everyone here tonight and that is watching that there are 4 candidates, and they are running for 3 full-term positions on the board. So thank you again to all the District 45 school board candidates, and you are now dismissed.
Thank you.
So we're going to take a short break while we have a transition. So I'm just going to take a moment and invite up Amanda Murphy, who is our club president, to tell you a little bit about the Junior Women's Club and an upcoming event that we have.
Good job, Kimmy. Less than 1 minute every answer. You get the most votes.
Good evening. Before I begin to share a little bit about our club and upcoming events, I want to take a moment to thank all the candidates for participating. I also want to thank Al Stash for providing the AV services and his team, and the village for allowing us to use their facilities, and the always amazing and supportive members of the Junior Women's Club for making this event happen. The Villa Park Junior Women's Club was founded in 2005 by a group of women who were looking to make a difference in the village. We are always happy to invite new members from all walks of life, and always are looking for ways to get more involved in the village of Villa Park. Each year we give a scholarship to a Villa Park High School girl, and this year we're awarding 2. These scholarships promote and reward students' academics and involvement in a variety of community service activities. This year we are awarding 2 scholarships, one for $1,500 and one for $500. The winners will be chosen based on their application and recommendations received. This is not a scholarship awarded based on financial need. We'll be accepting scholarship applications until April 15th, 2015. And for more information, you can apply online or download an application. Please visit our website at www.vpjwc.org/scholarship. As a club, we participate in local events such as Oktoberfest and various community service projects. We host our own 5K fundraiser race each October called the Trick or Trot and Little Devil Dash. We sponsor families in need through our Holiday Families program, plant community gardens, collect food for food pantries and local churches, and give our time and money, and generally do our best to make life a better place, to make life a little better, in Villa Park. This year, we are hosting the inaugural Kentucky Derby fundraising event, Talk Derby to Me, at Josephine's Martini and Wine Bar on Villa Avenue in Villa Park on Saturday, May 2nd from 3 o'clock till 8 p.m. Kentucky Derby post time is at 5:24 p.m. Tickets are $15 in advance and $20 at the door. The ticket includes Derby-themed appetizers, games, and a champagne toast. So the tickets are available from any Villa Park Junior Women's Club member or online at vpjwc.com. And come early and come on out and pick your horse, wear your derby hat or bow tie. And if you have any more questions, always go to our website at vpjwc.com or our Facebook page for more information. Thank you all again for coming, and I will now turn it over to Lizzie and our village board candidate.